About 15 years ago, I built some drawers to go in my old camper van, and to be honest with you, they were pretty rubbish. This week, the plan is to build some much better drawers with locking drawer slides to go in the upgraded new van. That said, this week things haven't exactly gone smoothly.
I've cut this 3 times.
But if I do manage to get these drawers installed,
Just not going to have drawers in the van, I think.
there's only one way to test if they stay closed on the road,
To be honest with you, it's not working very well.
and that's with a road test. Well, a field test, if the van starts. Let's get into it.
Good morning, Mr. Dobson. You're in the wrong field, mate.
So I've just got back from Selco, got some 9mm ply, and I've also picked up the drawer runners. These ones I think are the ones to go for if you're in a vehicle that moves and you need drawers. Calls for one of these, I think. Well, that was easy. If anyone's got any tips for how to trick my brain into tidying as I go, please leave them in the comments. It'd be really useful. So first thing to do is open up these drawer runners and check that they've sent all the right ones. I've got 7 pairs in total for the 7 drawers, and I'll need to check the thicknesses of the drawer runners before I can do a proper measure up to make the drawer boxes. We're going to be focusing on just 3 drawers this week for doing the drive test. All the different sizes seem to have the same thickness. They all come out at 25 mil, 2.5 centimeters. Another measurement I need to take note of is how much this tab protrudes from the main body of the drawer runner. The face of the drawer needs to be sitting proud of the carcass just enough so that this mechanism can actually be engaged by pushing it back into a gap. So that's all the measuring up done. We'll find out if I've made any mistakes later on. Now it's time to start pulling some wood out. For the larger drawers, I really wanted to use 15mm ply, but I do have a tendency to over-engineer things, and I just couldn't get hold of any 15mm ply anyway. The 12mm and the 18mm is what most places stock, and it's too difficult for me to get stuff ordered in here, especially with the time that I had. Effortless. So I'm going to try and make these drawers with 12mm ply, and I think it'll serve as quite a good test to see if 12mm is sufficient. If it goes terribly wrong, you'll know not to make the same mistake that I do. Time to start making some wood smaller. So I'm just going to explain what I'm doing with the largest drawer that I'm building here. I've actually got quite lucky with my measurements that both sides, the front and the back piece, will be able to fit on one long run that I'm taking from this 8x4 sheet, which means when it comes to cutting the dado that will receive the base panel, I'll be able to do one setup with the router to cut the groove all the way along that strip. This is going to make it much easier to have that dado uniform on all 4 pieces. When cutting my front and back pieces, I just need to remember to subtract the thickness of the 2 side pieces and my 2 drawer runners. I am actually going to make the drawer fronts 2mm smaller than those measurements, because it seems like there's enough play in the drawer runners to allow for that, and just in case there's any pinching at the back of the cabinets. I considered cutting rabbets into the side pieces to receive the front and back panels, but as I'm only using 12mm ply, you don't end up with a lot of material left. For this drawer and one of the others that I'm making today, I'm going to be using the 9mm ply for the base panel, just to give them an extra bit of strength. You just saw me cutting the base there. It's all going really well. And basically I've completely stuffed up my measurements on that one. I'll let future me explain. So it's the next day and still got a bit of work to do. Kind of set myself an impossible task yesterday, really. The main problem was just working tired. That's when I make mistakes. But I think the other reason is because I wasn't using my preferred tape measure. So today I think everything's going to go perfectly. We'll see. I did manage to get the tops, backs and sides all cut for each one of the drawers. So today all I've got to do is cut the base panels and assemble all of the drawers with my pocket hole jig. Now all 3 drawer boxes are finally assembled. It's time to pop off the clamps, do a final test with the drawer runners, make sure everything is fitting as it should, then start installing the drawer slides. Pretty soon we'll be able to get the Iveco started up and do a few laps around the field. Yes! These ones should be fairly straightforward to install in here. I'm just going to use the spacer method, so just putting one of these in place where the drawers are going to fit, put the runner on top of that and then screw in. This should be everything I need to get the job done. I've got my pair of runners, I've got my spacer piece, I've got a box of 8-gauge 1/2-inch pan head screws, which will be received nicely by the 12mm ply, PZ2 drill bit and an impact driver. Let's see what goes wrong this time. Before putting the first screw in, I'm just going to chuck a clamp onto the front of the runner there. Before I open the slide to locate all the other screw holes, I've got one screw hole in here that I'm just going to chuck a screw in, so that should hold it in place at the back as well, so that I'm not moving anything once I remove the clamp. That genius idea didn't work. What actually happened, because the screw wasn't totally centered in the hole, you can just make that out on there, I think. It's actually pulled the drawer slide back only about 1.5 mm, but that means that when that's flush with the carcass, the mechanism won't activate. So this is what I should have done with the slide open partially, located some of these oval holes, because that allows me then to center a screw in there, and I've still got a bit of movement forwards and back for when the screw is inevitably not quite in the right spot. You can see now that's fitting nice and flush with the front of the carcass, which allows the mechanism to operate properly. Then I should be able to just pop out the spacer and rinse and repeat on the other side. With both of those slides in place, it's time to fit the drawer, and I've got these 5mm spacers just to put underneath the drawer when I'm fitting it, to make sure there's a little bit of gap between the bottom of the drawer and this surface, just so it's not rubbing, and if anything gets underneath, there's a little bit of space to move. Now I'm happy with the position of that, it's time to bite the bullet and put some screws in. Now for the moment of truth. I haven't tested this yet, so you're seeing it for the first time, the same as me. Hopefully it works. It does not. Okay. It's just one of the spacers. One of these was blocking it at the back. There we go. Okay. All right. Be honest with you, it's not working very well. After a bit of head scratching, I have figured out the problem, and it is, of course, my fault. Remember that 2mm tolerance that I thought I had?
I'm actually going to make the drawer fronts 2mm smaller.
That seems to be the issue. So at the moment I still have the screws installed on that side of the drawer, and I've taken them out on this side, and this is a 3mm spacer, and you can see there I have a 3mm gap between the drawer and the drawer runner. What I'm going to do is put a strip of 3.6mm ply onto the side of the runner that should fill up that gap, and then hopefully everything will work after that. Fingers crossed. So I'll give you the good news before the bad. The good news is I managed to get it working. The bad news is, well, there's two bits of bad news. Because of the measurements I took, thinking that I could get away with that 2mm tolerance, That means that the other two drawers are going to be in exactly the same situation, I think. I have a workaround now, thankfully. But the other bit of bad news, when I was talking about lining these up nice and flush, this one's good. On this side, what I've had to do is leave this one. Can you see that? Yeah. There's now a lip. I've had to leave that a little proud. And the reason for that is it seems like either the box or the cabinet, something is skewed, which unfortunately means when I married them up perfectly at the front, only one of those locking mechanisms was engaging at a time, which meant you then go to open it and actually the other lock would engage and it wouldn't open until you pressed it again. Obviously not an ideal situation, not the end of the world. It just means that when I come to mounting this drawer front, I'm gonna have to put a packer in here so that the drawer face fits flat with the carcass. You won't know once it's all fully installed, and now it is working really nicely. It's just been slightly fussier to install these runners than I was anticipating. I've learnt a lot of lessons on this first drawer, and this one's going so much better, following my own advice of just putting 2 screws into each of those oval holes so you can do any small adjustments before putting all of the screws in. One thing I'd say, I'm so happy that I've only done 3 out of the 7 drawers in this run, but what I probably should have done is 1 drawer. Learn my lessons on that. But you live and you learn. So if you appreciate me messing up so that you don't have to, or you just enjoy watching me fail, give this video a like and consider subscribing. It really helps keep my motivation up for making these videos when things go wrong. That's a bit better. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice! Now I've finally got all 3 drawers installed, it's time for a road test. There's just a couple of things I need to do so that we can actually drive this vehicle. These countertops are not properly installed yet, so I'm going to take those out and I'm going to leave them out of the vehicle because next week I'm going to finally put the finish coat on these and properly install them. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to install these ones yet, so if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments. I'm very tempted to just use CT1 to secure them down so you can't see any screws or anything like that, but I'm just not sure if the CT1 will be able to cope with a wood sort of bowing over time. We'll find out. Let's find out if she still runs. Oh, put the brake down. Hey, there we go. Good girl. So that's been about 15 minutes. I think it's time to hit the field. Oh, it's so nice to drive this again. It's been ages. Well, that was fun. After all the mess ups this week, it's been really nice to have a little spin round. I think we're good. They stayed in place. So I'm very happy to report it looks like everything's stayed in place exactly as it should have done. The concerns that I had were that these mechanisms wouldn't stay closed, but these drawer slides require 8 kilograms of force to actually open them, so they're not like your touch open drawer slides that you often have. These ones do require a real definite push to make sure that they open. So the other thing I'd been concerned about with the build on these drawers, as I mentioned, was the 12mm ply that I used. I wondered whether I should have gone bigger, 15 or 18, but I'm really happy that I just went with the 12 because along with the 9mm bases, they seem really sturdy. So now I've finally figured out exactly what I'm doing with all the drawers. I think the next 4 that I've got to build should go a lot easier and faster than these ones have. They do still need a bit of a clean up. I've got to do some sanding and put some finish coat on there, but I'm going to wait until I've got the whole lot done so I can do them all in one big batch. Well, that's everything for this week, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching my wins and failures, and I'll see you next time. Bye.